All right, guys. I am back. I'm back. So ready to do this too. Give me just a few minutes. Let's make sure that people can tune in if they want to tune in. I have something excellent that I just wanted to share with you guys, and I want to be able to tear this guy apart, and let's take a look and see what's really going on. Because today I have another air compressor, another one. And it's a medical grade air compressor. It's not just a standard one. And in order to be a medical grade air compressor, it needs a couple extra features, like an auto blowdown. And it also has to have the ability to separate water from your compressed airstream. And this one has all of that. Now this particular unit, it was in an MRI control room, and this air compressor has been sitting there for, they said, a couple years, and there's only one note on the air compressor that I can see. And let's see, what does it say verbatim? Will not build pressure. That's why, guys. I have not plugged it in. I have not tore it down. I have not done nothing to this thing to figure out why it will not build pressure. So we're going to do this live, see exactly how complex is an air compressor to figure out what's going on. It's been sitting there for 2 years. The last air compressor, I was able to get it up and get going in, I think it was about 10 minutes. So will not build pressure. And let's see, in order to do that, I need to clear up some desk space because it's not a very large compressor, but it still is going to take some space. All right. Oh, yeah. Let's do it. There we go. Kind of cute, huh? Well, I mean, it's got a couple different levels of air separation, water separation. It's got a water separator over here. And it's also got a massive tank over here. You see that guy? So there we are. So it does an auto blowdown. I think it collects the liquid in here from the auto blowdown. And this here is just a typical water separator. Nothing fancy. But I have not plugged this guy in at all. And I'm very anxious to see what's going on, because for somebody to say that, hey, this guy is not building pressure. I mean, let's see. What do we got down in there? Okay, it does have a motor capacitor. So if it's not running, if it doesn't run the pump at all, then it probably will be a bad capacitor. If it's not building pressure because there's a leak, well, that leak could be from a hose or something. We don't know. There's some stuff going on down here on one of the copper fittings. A little suspicious. This box right here actually controls the timer mechanism for the auto blowdown feature. And for all I know, it might be always on. Like, for whatever reason, the blowdown valve is stuck on. We don't know. We're going to find out. Let's see. Everything's looking good. Okay, it looks like it's off. Okay. We also have emergency blow-off valve. It feels like it's not stuck. It feels like it's good. Patrick, Matthew, thank you all for joining. I know this is impromptu, man, but I am doing this one just on the spur of a moment because I was told not to do anything with this compressor. It's been sitting there for a couple of years, and I ended up taking this compressor from their storeroom, and I took it and I put it in my truck, because here's the thing. I don't care what people think. All right? Let's just say right there. I don't want to set a precedent saying, hey, my biomed department's taking care of this from now on. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix this guy, and I'm going to put it back in the MRI storage room. So if they have an outage, they can just whip this guy out. They plug in. It's got quick connects for the compressed air. They can just connect it up and they're not down as a department. Wouldn't that make sense? I mean, look at it. Don't tell me this compressor is that old. This thing looks almost brand new. Here, these guys are telling me not to fix it because we don't want to set a precedent for Biomed fixing their door system. So that's what this guy does. This compressor is for an MRI, and I don't know the specifics, but what it does is it operates some pneumatic doors of some sort. I don't know, and I don't need to know. But what I can tell you is that this compressor is not that old, and there is not that much that can go wrong with it. And every single component on here is replaceable. We can fix every single component on here. So I brought it home, and I have it here on my workbench in my own free time. Nobody's paying me to do this. I would like to get this fixed because this is probably a very expensive compressor given the extra features that it's got. It's probably several $1,000s, to be honest. And I would like to get this guy up and going so that they at least have a backup, because this is about helping the hospital. It's not about helping me or anybody else, okay? So this is the compressor. It's a nice, hefty little guy. Let's go and plug it in and see what happens. Now, I don't have anything plugging this hole right here. Okay, I hear a high-pitched sound. Sounds like it's building some pressure to me. It's nice and quiet, isn't it? Okay. All right, so I got the regulator backed off completely. So the tank should be building pressure. So this is your tank and this is your line pressure. So we're going to troubleshoot this guy using this one here by shutting this one completely off. So I see maybe a couple suspicious things down here, which would be your line side. You see it right here. So here's a stator, and this is what I was occluding as this is your output, which is a poly line that goes to your whatever, straight from the regulator. Okay, so there is some stuff to be aware of. It's not building pressure very quickly. It is not building pressure very quickly. I'll give them that. You would think that it would be way faster. So this type of pump right here, I'm not sure if this is a stage 1 and stage 2. Yes, it is. Okay. So going to the tank right here, you see a single braided line that goes from this pump head. So you have your muffler is attached to your stage 1, and your stage 2 is this guy over here. So this guy does a large compression, squirts that air over to here. That's why this one's a wee bit hotter than this one. And then this one here compresses it yet again. So I don't know what the ratio is. It could be 2 to 1, whatever. But you compress it once here, you compress it a little bit more over here, and then it goes into your cylinder. Allows you to get much higher air pressures by using 2 stages. It's generally more efficient. This one is cold, and this one here is kind of hot. So that goes to show you. And we don't have that much of a leak at our compressor side. You see that? So this guy here is staying pretty consistent. I was expecting it to leak right off. Wow. Okay. So let's keep it going. So far, so good. No weird noises. Now, I assume that these are wobble piston compressors. Piston compressors. So everything seems to be functioning pretty on par, man. So under this guy right here, you can hear that little tss. Under this one right here is your high pressure cutoff. It's a micro switch. Matter of fact, here, I'm going to open it up and show you guys. Why talk about it when we can open it up and I can show you? All right, for that. Whoops. Okay, right. I can't see the other. I do feel some heat coming off these pump heads, but that's kind of expected. All right, so I had a piece of tape seal. So if you ever have one of these type of compressors, say, you know, because it's not very big, let's say that you need to operate it at a higher PSI than what you currently have. There's a couple different adjustments. So take a look over here. Now, mind you, it's live, so I'm not touching it, obviously. You can see that there's one threaded screw right here, and then there's one right here. I'm not going to lie to you and pretend to know exactly which one is which. One of them is going to be your high pressure cutoff. So when it gets up to 120, 150 PSI, something like that, it'll cut off. And then the other one is your low pressure cutoff or cut on. So when it gets down to like 70 PSI, that's when it turns on, and it will go all the way until 100, whatever its cutoff point is. And then, you know, once you drain the pressure, which is, let's see, I'm a little backwards on this guy right now. Let's see, where is it? Oh, it's back here. Okay, so when you drain the pressure a little bit, watch your ears. That's when it drops below the threshold of the cut on pressure. And that, I think, is the brass screw. So this one here would be your high pressure, and that one there would be your low pressure. Anyway, that's what's going on under this cover. And this does directly disconnect mains. There is no microchips. There is no smartness to these things whatsoever. It is very analog, just like I said with the last one. So you have your mains right here, and it's live right now. So one of these is live and one of them is not. So when you flip this over, what you are doing is you're actually activating the contactor directly. So you can see the contactor right here, this little button. See that? So I'm raising and lowering the contacts to actually touch, completing the circuit. So when it reaches a certain pressure, all it's going to do is disconnect those contacts until it goes down to the low pressure threshold, which then it activates those contacts again. That's all it is. It's very simple. Anyway, put this guy back on here. Yeah. All right. So adjusting this, we can affect things for how we're going to operate. If it operates at too low of a PSI, if it operates too high, you can see right here, there's a sticker right on this that says air to door is 100 PSI. So they want this guy sitting close to 100 PSI. And I do believe the one that I seen today, identical to this, its low pressure threshold was 75 PSI, I think. And there, hopefully you can see it now. So maybe that's a little too low for them, but okay, guys, you can see that it gets to about 50 PSI and it won't go higher. So this is definitely an interesting thing. So it's not this side from here over, from the regulator over. It's someplace on this side, which means it's probably right here with my pump heads. Now, like I said, one of them's cold and one of them's hot. And normally with compressors, both of them would get warm. So I am betting that I am operating on one of my pump heads, which is almost definitely this one, because when you compress air, it gets hot, right? So as I said earlier, one of them's cold, one of them's hot. This one is obviously not compressing very much, so I'm operating almost solely on this stage right here because it's hot, all right? So that's one way of diagnosing air compressors. So I'm going to go ahead and drain this guy. And we're going to pull the pump head off. I don't know if this guy has a reed valve, which I'm assuming. And if it has a reed valve, then it might just be contaminated and not allowing it to seal all the way. If it doesn't seal, that means the air can come and go, you know, from this pump head. That's what I'm going to assume. I'm going to go ahead and pull this one off too, but I'm really concerned about this guy because it's way too cold even for a dual stage air compressor, you would think no matter what, this guy would have some sort of pressure and some sort of heat coming off of it. Anyway, let's take a look. I've got some Allens. Let's make sure that we got no pressure on it, because if you guys don't know, working around compressed air is extremely dangerous. Make sure that you drain all pressure before you go goofing around with it, because I'll tell you one thing, you do not want a pressure vessel exploding on you. That would be catastrophic. Oh, let's whip out the Allens. Let's see. I do it with this set. About 30 seconds. Yes. All right. Here we go. I really didn't want to goof around with another set of tools. Okay, so the first one I'm going to pull apart is the cold one. Now maybe it's cold because it's a dual stage, but I would think it would be a wee bit warmer. So I'm getting to about 50 psi, and that's low, man. That's really low. Hold on, let me get the impact. It's going to be a pain getting in and around that stuff. When in doubt, whip out the impact. Okay, here we go. All right, that was easy. So I'm going to try and keep all of these fasteners exactly where they are when I lay them out. And let's see. I guess I'll pull off the other side as well. So it's not a problem with the motor. I was kind of worried that it might be the motor based on their description of what was going on. Hey, Ben. Hey, Lauren. Thank you for joining. We are tearing apart a medical grade air compressor because it's been sitting for 2 years and because my bosses told me not to touch it. So what's the first thing you do when your boss tells you not to touch something? Don't even worry about it. You take it home and you show people on your YouTube channel, right? All right. Let's lay out these fasteners. This guy is pretty warm. All right, all right. Okay, just what I thought, man. Just what I thought. Guys, it looks like these are rubber diaphragm reeds, and it looks like they got contaminants on them. It looks like there's a bunch of garbage sitting on my reeds, so they're not flapping closed. You have to have those mating surfaces really clean so that it will match up really good. That's why we're only getting about 50 psi, because you got some blow-by, some leak. See, compressors are not that complex, man. This might actually be a 20-minute fix. Okay. Let's see. All right, let me pop these guys. Oh, exactly. Heck yeah. What do we got? Okay, so I got metal reeds, and it has been damaged. Something got inside it. Okay, so let me take a look and see if I can show you guys. So take a look at that reed valve. You see it? So I thought it was a rubber one. I was actually looking at this side. You can see all the contamination on that side. So fluid has gotten up into here, and fluid got up into here because somebody wasn't maintaining their equipment and emptying out the fluid trap right here. So it backs up into the system. And you have to remember, some of these back rooms in MRI rooms, they're not really climate controlled too well. So the humidity is probably really high in there. So yep, I got some rust in this porthole right here, and on my reed valve, looks like it is dented pretty good. So I'm going to see if I can maybe smoothen this reed out. We'll take a look. Look at this side over here. All right. So you can see down in there, I got some rust on my port. Oh, wow. We got some. Oh, my goodness. Really? Oh, do you guys remember when I said, like, this guy's really cold and something isn't working right? Take a look at this. See this reed valve right here? Where is it? Look at that. There's no reed valve. So my 2-stage was acting only as a 1-stage. So this guy over here, all that contamination garbage, it was still compressing 50 psi. This side right here, it ripped the reed completely off of it. And I can see some parts of it right there. See it up in there? So underneath this guy is part of my reed. There it is. And wouldn't you know it, reed valves, you can either make them, because look at it, it's just a piece of sheet steel. It's really fine. If you guys have any feeler gauges, if you have any feeler gauges, you can clip, get a set of tin snips, and you can clip them. And all you got to do is fit it right under this Phillips head screw right here, and just make sure that it doesn't interfere with your seal. I mean, you could make a reed valve, or you can buy them. I guarantee you I can buy a reed valve for an air compressor off of Amazon. And as far as this guy right here, you can see it's all corroded. I'm going to go ahead and shoot that guy down with some oil, and I'm going to let that soak to kind of free that up. Crazy. So all this is a blocker plate. So it limits the amount of flap for your valve. You can kind of see right down in there, see that gap? So all it does is it stops that valve from coming up too high, okay? It allows it to act very, very quickly to seal the chamber back up. So that's what it is. And you can see I got part of my flapper valve up in here. So now, where is the rest? So remember I said the reed on this side, it had a bunch of indents. It's all kind of damaged. Well, it's damaged because the components over here blasted down the tube into this chamber, and that piston came up and beat the piss out of all those little metal flecks, because you can see the metal flecks right here. Here, let's get you guys down here so you can see. Oh, there we go. Let's take a look. All right. Hold on. All right, there. Now I got a better grip on it. Look at those metal flecks. All that is very cleanable. All we got to do is clean that stuff out. Take a look underneath right here. Oh, there we go. Look at the corrosion. All we got to do is wire brush the corrosion out. As long as the seals are still good on the pistons. Whoop. Now, see that piece of metal over there? That is a piece of the reed valve stuck over there against the cylinder wall. So I got to be very careful when I pull that out. But luckily it's in between the piston and the ring. You see that? The seal. If it was between the cylinder wall and the seal, it would have scored the hell out of the cylinder, and I would be screwed. I don't know if I can get up in there and show you guys. Yeah, see that? So yay, one. It's a win. This thing is going to be completely salvageable, guys. Oh my gosh. And if anything, I'm going to just go ahead and maybe make another reed valve. I'll make one out of a feeler gauge, just like I said. That's all you need. Anyway, guys, I think I'm going to have to shut this feed down. We know what's going on with it, and it's completely fixable. Do you guys understand how frustrated I get when biomeds and contractors just half-ass a job? I mean, this is right here is there's complete rebuild kits for this compressor. I'm talking like new cylinders. You can get new pistons, which I'm going to lubricate these guys down a little bit. You can tell they've had some fluid intrusion. It's been damaged, some corrosion. The gaskets look like they're good. Hell, you can buy new gaskets for these things. It is not that complex, but people do a half-ass job when they do this. And all they did is they sold them a new compressor. And here it is, maybe a 20 or 30 minute clean out job, and it would have been fine. So it was user abuse. They weren't maintaining their equipment. But now that this happened on this device, I can tell you for a fact, I know what to inspect on the other one because they're not emptying the cylinder enough. Maybe come out with a water level sensor or something, you know, the ones that have the two prongs you dangle down in. And if fluid comes up to it and hits both the prongs, then it will send out a beeping sound or something to, hey, alert the users. Maybe I'll put something like that in the other one. You can see that there's some ventilation holes. See the vent holes in the lid? But that was it. Fluid got up inside it and boogered it up. Anyway, guys, I think I'm going to have to cut that one off because that was a little bit quicker than I thought it was going to be. That was a step-by-step. I used just the knowledge of thermodynamics. You know, if you compress something, it gets hot. So I knew that it was probably going to be in this pump head right here. Come to find out, it has absolutely no reed valve whatsoever inside it. You see that? Ripped right off. How crazy. So I'll disassemble this. I'll clean it up. I'll replace the reed valves. And this guy is going to be back in service. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you like these little teardowns where we just go through a device. I'm doing it live. I've never opened this guy. I have no clue what I'm going to go for. Just simple troubleshooting, and we can narrow it down pretty quickly. Anyway, guys, 30 minutes. Not too bad. Not too shabby at all. Thank you all for watching. And, guys, if you want more of these type of videos, just let me know. I dragged this all the way home from the hospital. But I love doing this. I love you guys being there because if I don't know what the hell's going on with this, maybe somebody that's watching this can help me out. But if I had more time, I'd also schedule these events. And I didn't really have the time to do it today. But thank you all for participating, and I will see you guys next time. All right.